Good morning, everyone. I hope you slept well. So, today I would like to present um, a topic that is a bit different. It's about those that are quite empathic towards other beings, and that have to navigate the world. And sometimes the world is a bit moving too fast, speaking too loud, and feels too much like it's forgotten how to listen. Um, so there are some people on Earth. There are many people who are quite sensitive, but not in a bad sense. Rather in a good sense, in the fact that they they feel like they want to really help the world, and they do not wish to see any suffering, and they have wonderful hearts. And but the world may think that they are maybe a bit too sensitive, and ask them to toughen up. But actually, sensitivity is wonderful. It's what is required in this world. It's not a flaw. It's like a form of wisdom that this world really needs all the time, but maybe especially right now. It's those people that just cannot close their eyes and ears to suffering, and I would say that possibly those that are very sensitive are those that may be first to that those kind of topics, the vegan lifestyle. This is very important to them, especially when they hear it, even the first time. They may understand it quite deep and change very fast. So there is category of people called HSP, I believe, like highly sensitive persons. It's it's a medical term. There's a wonderful YouTuber called Vera. She is one of my favorite channels, which is Simple Happy Zen, where she discusses about minimalism. She doesn't discuss a lot of but she is vegan, and she's also like an HSP, like highly sensitive person, and she recounts on her channel really interesting stories about how she got burnt out at work with too much pressure, too much work, and then she this created a lot of issue for her. And then she found out that she has this quality of HSP, of highly sensitive persons, and she recounts how her story of burnout is really interesting. I would recommend everyone to watch it. It's really very enlightening and interesting. She really calmed down her life very much. She became a minimalist, and a really wonderful. She's really a wonderful heart. Really, one of the kindest person I know. I don't know her personally, but I know her from her channel. So, yeah, so to those people, I believe really that are really sensitive to maybe a lot of noise, a lot of that too much noise is a bit too much for them. They love calmness, peacefulness. They love nature, um, and yeah, they like just to be at peace with themselves and with their surroundings. And yeah, I believe those people are really yeah, when they hear the animal rights topic, it touches them quite strongly. They really their heart is moved, and they may go to switching to a vegan lifestyle very fast. And yeah, and this is a good thing. Um, one can take one's time, of course, if nothing should be rushed. Like some go switch to vegan lifestyle after some immediately, some after some days, some after some weeks, some after a couple of months, some after a couple of years, and some never. But yeah, those that are really very fast, I believe those that are really sensitive and really open their eyes and their hearts, very empathic, and and that cannot justify violence towards other beings for their own sake, basically. So let's talk a little bit about that. So those are those that have hearts that are awake in a noisy world. So rather than saying that one is too stiff, um, it's maybe better viewed as they are actually awake rather than we are sleeping. It's like artists, artists are usually very sensitive persons, uh, and they artists really often um, they try to spread goodness around them through their own art, whatever that may be. Could be music or any other way. And yes, they often their music is about peace, finding peace, and to all beings. So sensitivity is not a flaw. Um, so one is not broken because one is sensitive. Nothing wrong with you if you are sensitive, very sensitive. I am quite sensitive myself. Um, yeah, so if one cries, that doesn't mean that anything is wrong. Crying can be very liberating. Um, and yeah, sometimes the world may feel a bit overwhelming. So that means that our heart is feeling deeply, and that is intentional. That is means everything is actually going very well with us. It's actually how possibly we should be. This world can be a bit hard and unwelcoming, and so sensitive persons may feel a bit out out there, kind of. But actually, the sensitivity is what we need, is what the world needs desperately. So sensitive persons are wonderful for this world, are amazing. Through them, this world can change. Sensitivity means one is like sensitive, sensible to other beings, both happiness and sadness. Um, and yeah, they like sensitive persons. They like not loneliness but solitude. To be a bit alone, to be reflective, to reflect about things deeply, to understand things in a deeper way. One feels more about, so the emotions may be stronger, and one notices also subtleties that others might not see. So it's not excessive, it's expensive. And yeah, that capacity to feel is wonderful. It's not a mistake, so to speak. And yeah, just like an instrument that is very very fine tuned, very wonderfully fine tuned. You know, there are some instruments that that one like buys, but they are not very fine tuned, and maybe they are very cheap. So they are not very, they do not last very long, maybe, and it's hard to use them correctly. Maybe binoculars, which are not very great, so one can see more or less, like very, it's like fuzzy when we look through binoculars. But if one has high level, highly precise binoculars, then it would be, the image would be much crisper. All the mirrors would work very well, and look very clean. And that is like a finely tuned instrument, and here it's a finely tuned instrument of awareness, that is sensitivity. So we experience things like that may remain invisible to many, or that many do not wish to see. And this is a gift. So it's a way of knowing the world in a deeper way, and deeply like personal, deeply with less veils, like maybe the normal beings in this world. I mean, nothing wrong with anyone. It's not that HSPs are better than others. That's not what I'm saying, of course. But it's a kind of a perception that is that should not be seen as a flaw. It's a very defined, very fine-tuned perceptions again, and that helps to navigate this world in a more empathic way. One really cares about everything that happens. Like if one reads about the animal plight, animal suffering, one cannot just close one's ears and hearts. So one should open up and understand that we can do something about it. We are not hopeless, and everyone can. Doesn't matter if one is sensitive or not. One can also develop sensitivity. Some have it a little bit more, some have it a bit less, but it's something that we all have to a certain degrees, of course. So, but yeah, some maybe take a little bit longer to really react, whilst others are quite faster. But yeah, sensitivity to this is not a flaw. It's a characteristics of some group of people, that is actually quite beautiful. So it's like an extra sense that we have. It's one that picks up on subtle frequencies of human experience, one could say. While others might walk past, we stop and actually listen. While others move quickly, we pause to feel. So it's like people who are very sensitive, they can, when they walk into a room, they can immediately feel the tension and the emotional temperature. We could say maybe the unease, or on the other spectrum, maybe the peace in that room, the warmth, and we feel it before anything is spoken, before any word is spoken. And that is just emotional intelligence. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's being empathic with beings and trying to really understand them deeply. We can also understand. If one is sensitive, one understands also one's words. When one speaks, one can try to understand what lies behind the words, how those words are spoken, and one can analyze what people maybe really mean, but can quite articulate. So one listens between the lines, as they say. And that again is like sensitivity, and that's wonderful. Then communication becomes easier and less problematic. Sometimes people, they say things, but maybe they think something else, and we need to try to listen between the lines about what the person is really saying. And that demands that requires some sensitivity, some wisdom, and so there is one instance that comes to my mind suddenly now. It's from an episode of Hercules. I used to watch that show a very, very, very long time ago. And there was one scene, it's a wonderful scene. So Hercules is a really nice guy, great guy, very strong. And very just. He also almost wanted justice. And then in one of the episodes, he was with kind of woman who is extremely empathic towards everyone, very kind and compassionate, very peaceful. And in one scene, there was in a bar. So he was sitting in the bar, and there was one guy who started to become very, very violent. And then I don't exactly remember. I don't remember how long, maybe 30 years ago that I watched that. But he was very violent, and he wanted to kick everyone. And then Hercules, of course, he wanted to calm him down and possibly fight him, because all that he saw was violence. And then she came, her his temporary companion for the travel that he was doing. And she was looking at this guy who was very violent at that time. Suddenly became violent, and then she understood it calmly. And then she said to Hercules, "Oh, but he has a lot of pain in his teeth. He was in a very, very big pain." Okay, then Hercules calmed down. Everyone calmed down, and the guy also calmed down, maybe started crying a bit and showed like the teeth that was hurting him. I believe like Hercules like kicked him on his mouth um, to like break this decayed teeth. And then okay, the guy's teeth came out, and then he was so happy, and suddenly he became very calm and smiling, and yeah, he was showing like the teeth that was like that had issues, and he did not feel any more pain. And also Hercules also learned a big lesson in that instance. So so that is what is meant by being calm and sensitive, is seeing things beyond what we normally see, and try to understand people, why people do what they do. Um, Not necessarily like excuse them, but at least try to understand and possibly help them and help the others in a way that is quite different than what people might do in normal circumstances. Like in this case, like Hercules wanted to kick him to start a fight, um, but he did not, for even for 1 second, think that maybe try to understand why the other guy suddenly like became very violent. And the empathic person, the sensitive person, the really one who could see behind the events, she could understand deeply what's happening. Um, yeah, so like sensitive persons, they're really moved more than maybe others about nature, and they're also devastated by cruelty, by like even casual cruelty. So we notice, one notices the tenderness in small acts of kindness and the sharp edges of system that harm. So the heart registers it all. So it's not fragility, it's attunement. It's a profound ability to be present in the reality in all its complexity. So yeah, like highly sensitive persons, they are attuned, so to speak, with their own self. One could say more attuned because our own self is very loving. Our own self, our true self is made out of energy of true love, of kindness and compassion. So, so sensitive persons, they are more attuned to that less veils between their own so-called being awareness and their own higher self. So yeah, and that is wonderful. That is not something bad. Um, yeah, but then the world may shame this softness. Um, Emotions are seen as obstacle to productivity, and then sensitivity becomes like misunderstood and even feared. So, like a fast world like we live in today, it rewards like numbness. Um, like everything needs to go very, very fast. There's no really time to pause and feel. Um, but yeah, so-called progress is just without feeling, it's just motion without meaning. So that's why it's a good idea for us all to pause a little bit from time to time. And basically, that's why we also meditate and go to nature and love like being really in a kind of a peaceful state, not talk all the time. Um, and just being kind of aware in in a sense, aware of everything. Um, and yeah, so feelings sometimes they reveal like truth. They expose like injustices, they name harm, and demands accountability. So they sometimes this world dismisses emotions rather than facing what it can reveal. So feelings can become labeled as dramatic or overreacting. Maybe some of us have heard that. Um, yeah, so when we are disconnected, maybe we mock what one doesn't understand, what we don't understand. Um, and those that are not really connected or disconnected from their own sensitivity, sometimes they mock those that are. It's a kind of mechanism, a way to confront their own like buried emotions, and yeah, and this softness maybe reminds them of what they also need. So sometimes in some places, like imagine a very sensitive person that is very empathic to all beings, and he goes into um, a room with many people, and then you see like an insect that crawls in the middle of the room, and then that person is really feeling empathic toward that and doesn't want, because he knows if he or she doesn't do anything, then that insects might be crushed unintentionally, of course, but still. So they may try to like look out for maybe a paper, a tissue to slowly and lovingly like relocate that insect to a safer place. But then one could hear from other people, like, what are you doing? Stop doing this. You're like embarrassing me, um, without really understanding, not feeling what we feel about those beings. And that in itself, it shows um, exactly that we may be a bit disconnected from empathic feelings, from also understanding the other person who's trying to help that insect and really doesn't want to see that insect crushed. So it's both empathy, should be empathy towards that person who may be a very good friend, and empathy toward the insects. So two empathy toward two beings. But usually we close our hearts to those kind of feelings. And sensitivity opens up that feeling of really wanting to, wishing to help. So like softness sometimes may be labeled as weak, um, not because it is, but because like it cannot be controlled or become something commodified. And yeah, so the system profits from kind of disconnection. So it doesn't like that softness, but that softness is wonderful. And it is very, very much needed in this world. We should all become more softer, more sensitive to our world around, to both our fellow humans and our fellow brothers and sisters from all the animal kingdom, which we are part of, um, to nature also. So we should open our hearts, start to embrace nature, embrace this sensitivity, and open up our emotions, emotional self, um, and not feel guilty about it. Um, yeah, so So it's a kind of sensitivity, it's a kind of yeah, it's a threat to violence, and we live in a violent world. Unfortunately, currently, I hope that will change. I believe it will, but for the moment, it's quite a violent world, both between humans and humans, and even way more between humans and the and nature. Um, like what we do to the animals is is extremely violent, but we never stop and think about it. And that's because our sensitivity maybe is a bit veiled from society and through ignorance, like ignorance of what is happening. So often, ignorance may be the cause, but it's not always, because many of us know what's happening in in the animal agriculture, but we are still not that we are okay with it, but we don't want to change. It's a bit a subtle difference. We don't want to listen. So that's why it is like the world likes to tell sensitive person to toughen up, to just go with the flow. But no, we should go with our own flow, our own sensitivity, and not accept violence just like that. We can do something about it. That's why it's wonderful that we can do something about it. If we cannot, we cannot. Okay, but if we can, we should. We must. We have a duty to do that. Um, yeah. So yeah, it's also, for example, for um, sometimes maybe especially men, they may feel a bit kind of macho about it, about violence, about being toughened up, like being a very strong person that can beat people up. And for example, the hunting is considered like something very manly. And sometimes those that hunt, they may want like their children to follow in their footsteps, so they take their child to hunt as well. Probably, usually, the first time, first few times, the children are very hated and don't understand what's happening and why they need to kill those beautiful beings. And but kind of their father or grandfather, they may like say, yeah, you need to do it, you must do it, it's your rite of passage to adulthood, maybe. And once one kills one's first animal, then it's like a celebration. It's like smile everywhere, not from the person who did it, but from the others. It's like, wow, good, great, you finally became like a man. You hunted, you killed an innocent being by yourself. What a wonderful thing. But deep down, that person who did it feels terrible, hates it, and wish they never did it. But it's too late. Once a bullet is sent, it's too late to stop it. So, well, we should not do it. We should not. First, we should not hunt, and certainly, if we hunt, we should not believe that that is a wonderful thing and very manly. It's not manly. It's just a murder. I'm sorry for using that strong word, but it is true. If we pause and think about it, it's murder disguised as something maybe that we believe is necessary. is ridiculous. That we need it maybe because we want to eat our own flesh and bone. But come on, we don't need to eat any hurt any animal, and then those pure animals that are in the forest, they just want to live freely, peacefully, and then we hunt them. It's ridiculous. But yeah, so that's one can watch also. I think that's one of the scene in the documentary Spiracy that I would encourage people to see. It's wonderful documentary from the makers of Cowspiracy and Muddy Health. It's a relatively recent documentary, came out, I believe, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 years ago. And it took a very, very long time to make it. It was really wonderful. It also follows one. So the story of that is that that person, that producer of like what the F Conspiracy was giving like a talk in a place. Then there was one Christian guy who asked, I don't remember the question, like how would Jesus kill a being compassionately? How can one kill compassionately an animal, something like that? And then the producer was kind of set aback. He was not sure how to respond to that. And after that event, they came back, both of them. So they met, and they decided, both of them, to make a documentary about exactly that. What would Jesus do? How did Jesus react in the past about that? And it's a wonderful documentary. It's like investigative documentary that goes all over the world and try to find answers. And then and then one see that actually Jesus Christ was utterly against world violence. That's, I mean, everybody knows, but he was also against meat eating. It was very, very, very strongly against meat eating, and so he never killed an animal. I mean, he never killed an animal because he never ate an animal. That's another story for another time, maybe. Because he was born in an Essene family who are strongly vegetarians, and there are many facts that shows that he was against this violence. He was also a highly sensitive person. So that's why it's actually a good thing to be sensitive. But the world is kind of violent nowadays, especially. So much violence, and not really. It's a needless violence. It's not to protect ourselves or anything. For example, animals, they are very innocent. They are very defenseless. Even in hunting and fishing and all the meat that we eat from like animal farms. This is just cowardness, I would say, from mankind. We thrive on the innocence and defenselessness of other beings. If that was between, it happens between also countries, like one country is much stronger than another, then decides to invade the other country, that's also cowardness. And an injustice, basically. So yeah, the world doesn't like this because yeah, empathy slows harm. When we feel other people pain, then we do not we hesitate to inflict pain. So empathy creates kind of a pause, consideration, and the possibility of choosing differently. That's the most important part of it. So it slows down the cycle of violence and cruelty in this world. And yeah, feeling they question cruelty. So sensitive people, sensitive people or persons are the ones who ask like, but doesn't this hurt? Um, when they see that they notice policies that harm real people, and I'm not talking about only humans, but all animals for me are also people. Um, and yeah, so sometimes jokes have like venom in them, and the system they just crush the spirits. So um, that the feeling this makes cruelty visible. So that's why maybe people are a bit hesitant, for example, to go vegan, because it forces them, it forces us to open up our feelings, to see that maybe we have been partaking in quality our own life, and suddenly it's hard to see that, it's hard to accept that, and maybe it's easier to just go along with it and continue and closing our eyes and hearts and ears. But if you are very sensitive, if you have strong feelings, then we cannot just do that. And honestly, it just doesn't matter when we like start to see it. The most important thing is just to acknowledge it and see it in the present moment. What is past is the past. Only the present really matters. Like the past, there are things that we were not aware of growing up in vegetarian or even, I mean, non-vegan family, most of us. So what can we do? Even in vegetarians, they are also they do not question dairy and cheese and eggs and butter and sometimes also fish. But that's the same thing. We vegetarians also are not necessarily completely in tune with the sensitivity. But again, same thing. If one is aware of it, suddenly something possibly awakes in us, and then we start to see that that is not enough. So vegetarianism is not enough. We need to go one step further and stop all the dairy products for one. That comes out of from such a horrible place. One can watch, for example, the wonderful short documentary named Milk from Earthling Ed or Ed Winters. It's like a award-winning document. I mean, so short movie, very short. It's like animated, but it's a wonderful movie that can open up our hearts to understand what's really happening in the dairy industry, and it's not all like we maybe sometimes we have a romantic thinking about it, like the farmers going to milk the cow is very heavy to give milk, but that is just nonsense, to put it mildly. Um, that's kind of what the dairy industry wants us to believe. I would say it like that. Again, it's desensitizing us to violence through different means. And if one is very sensitive and sees this, then it's wonderful. So yeah, awareness it disrupts indifference. Many harmful systems they rely on like collective numbness. They depend on people not noticing, not caring, not feeling enough to act. So our awareness interrupts this, and sensitivity refuses to look away. So again, all the violence that we do to the animals, especially, is such a gigantic. It's so gigantic. It's unimaginably gigantic. It's kind of impossible almost, but it is very much our current world. And most of the violence in this world comes primarily from this, from um, not caring enough, not knowing enough about the animals. I mean, most of us really don't want to hurt animal directly, at least, but indirectly we don't have much issue. So when we eat like an hamburger or a steak, we rarely pause, take a pause to question what we are actually consuming. Basically, we're consuming an innocent being's flesh and bones, um, and there's nothing to laugh or be happy about it. And it's not out of necessity, just out of habit and out of maybe lack of knowing and lack of if we know but we still do it, and lack of a little bit of lack of sensitivity maybe. So, but we can change. Again, sensitivity is something that we can change. It's not final. Um, it's kind of a practice that we can do. Like anything in life, we can practice it. We can become better at it. When we practice any sport, we become better at that sport after some time, inevitably. Similarly, sensitivity can be seen as a practice we can develop from different means, like maybe being more sensitive every day to beings who talk to us, listening more, less talking. Um, I don't remember who said that. Yes, I think it's a wonderful like Buddhist monk that he called a story about his youth. In his youth, he had a teacher, and he always remembered that. I think he was very young. Then the class made a lot of noise and were very disturbing. Then the teacher quietly came in, and then she said, "Please, like listen." Then she said, "Do you know why we have two ears and one mouth?" And then like the students were like, "No." And then she said, "It's because we need to listen twice more than we need to talk." I believe the class then went silent at that time. So, and this is something that he remembered for a long time, and I think it's a beautiful saying, and smart and wise teacher. So, yeah. So, let's press next. So yeah, the nervous system is not the enemy. And then yeah, so when we react like strongly, then maybe the heart races and the breath shortens, and maybe tears will come. But that's not malfunctioning. We are not broken or defective. So the nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It responds to what it perceives. So we are not overreacting. Yeah, if something is like overwhelming to us, and it's overwhelming to us. Our experience is valid. The threshold is real and fine. So yeah, so we are responding basically honestly. So our body doesn't lie. We don't try to hide it. And it's offering it's kind of an information about what's happening. It's honoring that signal that is happening in the body. So it's not a weakness, it's a wisdom. It's using to trust our own inner knowing. And yeah, so our nervous system tries to protect truth, safety, and meaning. So if something is bad for our values, then we react basically. So we need to honor it. We need to listen to it, and be okay with it. So our body is not our enemy; is our ally. It's not an adversary. Yeah. So when we are sensitive, we require sensitivity requires like care, not suppression. Don't need to build walls around our hearts. We don't need to thicken our skin. We need like a gentler environments. We need spaces that honor our nature rather than demand that we change it. So there are many ways that we can that this work could like help like maybe highly sensitive persons and even themselves. So just to create, we all also need boundaries. We need to protect our own energy. We need to set, let's say like no to something that depletes us. We shouldn't just say yes to everything and to everyone, to every project. Sometimes we can say no. There's something beautiful that one learns maybe with time is that we don't have to say yes to everything. If a friend wants us to go to a movie but we don't feel like it, just say no, of course, in a kind way, in a truthful way, but without hesitating. And actually, that honors not only ourselves, but also the person who wishes to go to the movie because we just don't feel like it. Not that we don't want to see that person, but we don't feel like going to the movie or to drink to a bar or to any place. This is create boundaries that are very, very important. And then that way we don't need to go to places that overwhelms us, that we really do not want to go. I'm personally I'm quite a reserved person. I don't talk a lot except in this presentation because those are presentations. But usually I don't talk a lot. I don't really. I like being like only with just a couple of people who I feel very good with, rather than a big group where usually I don't say anything because I just don't feel like saying anything. Everyone is talking and it's hard to listen, hard to talk, hard to hear. There's nothing productive that I can say. And when I am really with even just maybe one or two persons that I really enjoy being with, like really good friends, then there's really discussion. Then we can really laugh and talk and understand each other. So I don't like to go to big events because the meditation retreats are a bit. They are not big events. I mean, there are not that many people there. Maybe maximum 12, which is great. I love having big groups. Also, small groups are great too. But those retreats also they have like people, but usually when we eat, we eat together, but I don't talk. I almost don't never talk at the tables except possibly with the one next to me or in front of me, just one person. but I rarely talk like in a group settings, except of course for the lessons or the sessions. But I prefer to be more focused on like maybe one or two persons, usually just one. That way I can really have a discussion, just like one to one, and it's for me it's easier to relate to people like that. So I avoid events personally, big events. I really don't like going to them, like the events, of the company where there are many people, and basically I don't really know what I'm doing there. Um, just kind of talking. Well, I mean, I'm not against people enjoying this. Some people really enjoy this. Personally, I just don't. It overwhelms me. I feel unease at those events. Kind of I don't want to be there, but maybe I'm forced in some sense. But I just don't go to those events. So that simplifies things. Um, yeah, so those are the boundaries. So saying no, even though maybe others expect us to go or to yeah. But if we don't want to, we just say no, no problem, no issue. And yeah, then sensitive person, they also like quietness, as I said, solitude, not loneliness, but solitude. So time away from noise and simulations and constant input. And then that silence helps the nervous system to really settle down. And that also lets us hear what we are saying to ourselves. It's like the self-dialogue part. And also, sensitive persons, they like nature, the healing presence of nature, of trees, water and earth and sky. So the natural rhythms that that remind us that not everything needs to be fast. When you go to nature, it's very calming, very peaceful. Um, it's like a living system that is basically where we come from. So when in the retreats that I present at a wonderful retreat center, it's in the middle of a wonderful forest, a very big natural reserve. So we go to walk like every day, relatively long walks and also hike, and it's just wonderful. I love this. It's very complementary to meditation, and yeah, kindness is also something that really sensitive persons are very aware of. Um, and kindness also, I mean, to receive kindness from society is also wonderful. So that society understands us, and also kindness from ourselves, first and foremost, and also others. Gentleness that doesn't demand that we perform anything or prove anything. It is just acceptance that see our sensitivity as sacred, not shameful. That is wonderful. Sometimes we have families when one person like wishes to go vegan because they are very sensitive and they saw maybe a documentary or they just come from their hearts. And if their family does not accept it, it creates a lot of tension, and that's not okay. That means the family has not yet understood um, the sensitivity of that of their kids, usually. But it could also be maybe husband went vegan or the wife went vegan, and then but the other side doesn't want to. Maybe feels a bit reluctant or very reluctant. Then it can create some tension. But I would say that's not the sensitive person kind of issue. It's more about the person who feels that they are that yeah, like their own values maybe gets questioned, and they just cannot accept it. But usually it settles down, and one's family slowly but surely goes more in the direction of a vegan lifestyle, compassionate lifestyle. When one of the members goes vegan, switches to a vegan lifestyle. So even though there may be tension initially, but it settles down. It can settle down quite fast. But sometimes it doesn't. Maybe some parents are too strong-willed, and they will not accept that their child goes vegan, and then they will they will not accept it, and then it will create a lot of tension in the family, and that's not good. So parents should listen to their children's, and partners should listen to one another, um, and also to their parents. Maybe it's the parents who want vegan or more vegan aligned, and then the children's maybe can look up to their parents. I'm not saying the parents should force their child to be vegan, but the children will for sure be influenced, and many will go vegan by themselves. And yeah, so kindness is important from society to have, and then time to integrate, just this kind of space to process what we experience or what we've experienced. So with permission, like to move slowly and to rest and digest basically, digest life rather than just consuming it endlessly. And that is a wonderful thing. Um, and yeah, so that also for that thing, minimalism helps. Minimalism are those that do not have too many objects. They only have those that they really need and they really want. So they do not have any excess object. That is in contrary to materialism, where people may accumulate stuff endlessly, and it doesn't matter how big the house is, it will still be filled. So if the house is twice as big, then it will be filled with millions and billions of objects, and never giving up any of the objects. Really kind of hoarding the objects without giving them, having hundreds, if not thousands, of clothes and shoes and whatnot, and just not needing them. So one could just give them away, or sell them, or throw them if they are broken completely, or repurpose them, recycle them, etc. So yeah, minimalism quite helps if one is a sensitive, highly sensitive person. Then going also minimalist can help a lot because it reduces stress. Each object that we have, kind of like, I think there was a saying, somebody said that every object is like crying for attention. And if we have just a couple of objects, then that is fine, maybe hundreds of objects. If we have like hundreds, thousands of objects, that's a lot of shouting. So yeah, I do not know if that is a trend, like if highly sensitive persons are all minimalists. I would tend to believe that possibly. But at least it's like a trend that is good to know that it is possible. Like again, you can check out Vera from the wonderful channel Simple Happy Zen. She's one of my favorite soul on this planet. She's really a wonderful soul. She's very sensitive in a good sense. Always, she's highly sensitive. She's minimalist. She's vegan, and she's meditating. So yeah, she has a lovely presence about her, how she speaks very calmly, presenting minimalism, what she likes to minimize, not buy in a year, or what she stopped buying now. And yeah, so she is very inspiring. That's why I say it, because I would advise just to watch her channel, just a couple of videos. If one, for example, is highly sensitive person, then one can check her channel and learn about what it is exactly an HSP, so-called HSP. I think it has been recognized medically relatively not that long ago, maybe. That is so-called condition, not condition, but yeah, highly sensitive. Being highly sensitive is like something that one can be born with, but also one can develop over time. So again, it's like development also can make us become more sensitive, and that's a good thing actually. So yeah, so when we honor our sensitivity, something can shift. We stop fighting our nature, and we start working with it. So when we stop trying to be less sensitive instead of creating conditions that supports the sensitivity. So we don't just survive, we thrive basically. It's a wonderful thing to be sensitive. We become clearer. When we don't override our signals, we can start to hear them distinctly. And our intuition strengthens, our empathy strengthens, and discernment becomes sharper. And we know what's true for us and what isn't. So we become calmer. So if we honor our sensitivity, then we become, like maybe paradoxically, but less reactive. For example, if we become less angry, like maybe with people also, so less reactive. When we give ourselves what we need, so like rest, like boundaries and space, like we saw before, then our nervous system settles, and then we respond rather than react. Then we become more grounded, not no longer drowning in input that we cannot process, and we are rooted in our own needs, our own rhythm, our own truth, and this is wonderful. And we become more whole. Um, um, we stop like fragment ourselves to fit into spaces that were not meant for us. So we become basically whole. So we stop fighting with ourselves and we start trusting our inner signals, and that trust changes everything. So so that is honoring our sensitivity, and most importantly, this world really need hearts which are weak. They're often the sensitive persons are often those that who see what needs to be healed, and to do something about it. They're the one that refuse to accept cruelty as normal, and they're the one who imagine something better and work to build it. So there are many such people in this world. Those are like the healers. So those are to not turn away from the suffering, but try to do something about it, who offer comfort and presence when words fail. Um, and then they know how to heal beings. They're also the protectors, those who stand up for the vulnerable, who speak for those who cannot speak, and who refuse to be just bystanders to harm. So they use their sensitivity as a compass toward justice, basically. And yeah, we try to help those that cannot help themselves, those that are voiceless. And yeah, they are also of course, in the human screen, but a lot of it, most of it is from the animal kingdom realm, who they are the voiceless beings mostly, not only but mostly, because we kill billions, actually trillions of them every year, and we do not listen to their cries, to the cries of the animals, how they are treated with great pain. It's a torture, it's an abuse, an unbelievable, uh, yes, an unbelievable mountain of abuse. That is again needless, completely needless. It's not that we need those products. We do not need meat, dairy, eggs, honey, fish. We do not need those. We can not only live but thrive without those and be much healthier because those are not our initial food, what humans are supposed to eat. So we need to become protectors of nature. Um, that's why for me environmentalists, they should definitely be vegans. Otherwise it's kind of strange to wish to protect nature but then contribute to its destruction in other ways. So protection is not just remove plastics, but it's also that's one thing. But environment is a lot more than plastics. Plastic is a big subject, but plastic, most of it comes from the animal agriculture, from the fishing industry, from 80% of the plastic in the Great Ocean Patch is from discarded fishing nets. Maybe this is not a very well-known fact, but it is. It comes from the Ocean Cleanup Organization. And yeah, those that are also very sensitive, usually they are the artists, those that translate feelings into some kind of form or make the invisible visible, and then who create beauty that remind us that we're alive. So they kind of show us what we couldn't name ourselves. Can be painters, can be musicians, dancers, sculptors. There are many kinds of artists, and they're wonderful beings. Usually, they are very sensitive. They are the one that maybe have the highest propensity to understand the animal suffering and to go vegan and to understand the importance of it. There are many artists that are like like movie actors, maybe many singers are also vegans. There's Joaquin Phoenix. He's a wonderful actor, well-known movie actor, award-winning actor who is vegan and a very strong advocate of it. And also in the music realm, there's also Billie Eilish. She's quite incredible. She's very strongly vegan, plant-based, and she's not shy about it. She has like maybe more than 100 million followers, which is actually quite wonderful and amazing. And yeah, she's not afraid of saying things as they are. And even her shows are basically, she requests that all the shows be vegan, be plant-based. So all the food in their shows that must be plant-based, I believe, at least where it is accepted. And that creates strong ripples, especially in the youth. And the youth are the future of this world. So hopefully, we will have a generation of incredible, compassionate and kind beings. Because nowadays the world moves very fast, and with the internet, things are more well known, much faster. Everything is very fast paced. So in the past, it was not necessarily very visible. All the, for example, the animal plight, and nowadays it's I would say much more visible. It's very visible, and it's impossible to not know about it if one just search a little bit. Google just like vegan documentaries, and one will have hundreds. So and there's a wonderful site like vegmovies.com, which I would highly recommend, which has a lot of documentaries. So yeah, so there are also the sensitive persons, so the truth tellers, those who say like this doesn't feel right, when everyone else is pretending everything is fine. They will name dysfunction, expose harm, and refuse to participate in collective denial. Again, that's what the vegan movement is all about, I would say, is to tell the truth about this so-called agriculture. I will not name. I don't like this animal agriculture name, because for me, it's not an agriculture. It's murder. Maybe the animal murders. Yeah, organizations. And also, yeah, the politicians and the lawyers, they should step up and stop this. But unfortunately, the government is actually supporting it with our own money, and that is very hurtful. So from the tax that we pay, they use it to pay the animal agriculture so that they themselves thrive. Because without money, the animal agriculture would have a hard time to survive. So they receive a lot of money, so much money. And like meat should cost 10 times more than plant-based food. But government is helping those organizations, then they can lower their cost. I'm not saying I'm not against the farmers, of course. Animal agriculture farmers, they can switch to a plant-based farming. There are some organizations who help those animal farmers to switch to plant-based farming. So that is absolutely quite incredible, and that's wonderful. And then we can have more plants, and we can feed more people in the earth, and there will be no more malnutrition, no more people dying from not enough food. And we have enough food, but we are not. We give the food to basically all the animals. Like most of the food that exists in the world is maybe surprising, but not for the humans. They are for the animals. Then we eat the animals. So I think we take 80% of the land, agricultural land is used by animal agriculture, but they provide only 20% of the world calories, which is a ridiculous inconsistency. And so how can they survive? Because the government helps them. So government helps to destroy the planet, basically. And the animal farmers, they would probably be much happier with plant-based agriculture. They would themselves feel much lighter. They would not have to know that they contribute to killing so many beings. There's nothing. They themselves are probably suffering. Maybe they inherited a family so-called business, and then they've maybe no choice, and that's their life. But that is not a normal thing, and that can stop, and many do stop. So there are some cattle ranchers that become like animal sanctuaries. That's absolutely incredible. even in, I believe, Texas. So it is possible. So yeah, um, so yeah, so if you are sensitive, then you are not too sensitive. Nothing wrong with sensitivity. We are not fragile. For maybe we've been told we are not weak. Sometimes we mistake tenderness for like frailty. We're not broken. Sometimes we hear that and we do not need fixing. We are just more awake in a world that often sleeps. So actually, it's, sensitive persons are more awake while the others are sleeping. So yeah, so the culture is learned to be numb, so to be really like very sleepy. And those that are sensitive, they are those that are really feeling stuff, feeling more awake. We feel like we notice things that others do not see, because our heart is more tuned to the frequencies that others do not hear. So we should not harden ourselves. We should not be fixed. We should not be walled around our hearts. Let it be luminous. We should not yet train ourselves to like feel less, just to fit into spaces that were never meant to hold us. So the world needs softness. The world needs kindness and compassion and tenderness. And to refuse to accept cruelty as normal, that is how we should all be. So we need this capacity to feel, to care, to stay open, even when it hurts. So it's not sensitivity, it's not something to overcome. It's on the contrary, it's something to honor, to protect, and offer as the gift it is. So yeah, so this is it. So this is the last slide. That was a long talk, but it's an important one. It's a bit different than the other talks that I gave in this series. It's more about the humans who are very sensitive and actually honoring that, and seeing that that is not only okay, that is kind of what people should be, like sensitive, empathic, kind, compassionate, and open-hearted, and to have emotions is perfectly fine. And then that's how we should develop ourselves. So we should become sensitive. We should become highly sensitive, and even if we are not sensitive, doesn't. I mean, you can still be vegan and not be sensitive. I mean, not so sensitive. Sensitivity comes with time also. Like when we switch to a vegan lifestyle, for example, we will become more sensitive, much more sensitive over time in a good way. We start to understand basically why we are vegan, why we choose kindness and compassion over cruelty and violence. And one thing that most ethical vegans at least say is that they all wished they've been vegan before. Like practically all vegans say that. Maybe not all, but most of the ethical vegans. There's vegans. Ethical vegan just mean that one does it for the animals first and foremost, and all the other things are secondary. Like when you go vegan for health or maybe for the environment, or for social justice, I mean that's great. Do not mistake me for saying that that is not okay. That is great. Doesn't matter what reason, the animals don't really care. But even more then, many people go for health reasons, but then slowly over time they switch to, they try to learn, they see documentaries, and then they understand that actually it's much more than health. And maybe it's especially for the animals. That's the main reason for going vegan, at least for me. Um, and that is sufficient. Not only it's not just one reason that is the reason. It's a sufficient reason to go vegan. No need for anything else, honestly. If one understands this, then one would be vegan for life. It's not possible to go back. Um, Going back maybe because of social pressure and maybe family pressure, or but yeah, but if one does it for feeling empathic towards other beings, then that's it. And even if one goes back, okay, that's okay. We should forgive ourselves and just move on, and maybe try to understand why we would change back. Maybe we believed our health was deteriorating, maybe, but it's just because maybe we didn't eat right, even as a vegans. Maybe if we uh, just one type of fruits, possibly we will not feel well. So we need to eat a balanced life, balanced diet. Doesn't matter which diet we eat, but especially if we eat vegan, then we need to eat a lot of variety, and wonderful. And it's a wonderful world, much more bigger than the meat world. Um, Much more interesting, at least. So yeah, um, so again, that is the presentation for today. So that again, sensitive persons are perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with sensitive persons. On the contrary, they are wonderful. Um, we can all be a little bit more sensitive, and it's not only for sensitive person, of course, that one can go vegan. Sensitivity is something that can be developed over time, um, through softness, through kindness, through compassion, through increasing one's empathic to other beings. A great way to start maybe is to watch out for the insects, not to hurt any insects, no matter where, and to protect them. When one sees an insect in danger, then one can save that insect. That is wonderful. And um, like in the retreats I present, sometimes there are like ants that go in the middle of the meditation hall where I give the sessions and lectures. And then I stop everything and just go and pick up the ant and put her or him outside. Um, and then people notice it there in the meditation. Those who go to the meditation, they see that I do that. I don't say a word, I just do it. Then I go back to teaching or presenting the session. And I think, yeah, many of them actually start also doing the same thing. Um, and that is really touching my heart. That's wonderful. And that's one way of becoming more sensitive to other beings, through going to the smallest of beings, which are insects, which we often neglect. Um, we don't think about much, but they are also wonderful beings, and we need to protect them as well. So by protecting the weakest or the smallest, then we will feel a lot of empathy towards also the higher, like bigger animals and humans as well. Of course, when we are kind and compassionate to to the smallest, we will also be kind and compassionate to the biggest. It's It's an interesting um, transition, so to speak. Um, yeah, so again, I hope it was interesting, and let's go to our daily session. So let's start with our daily prayer. So, just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I will show gratitude for my many blessings. Just for today, I will be kind to all living beings. May today be a joyful, peaceful, blissful, and magical day. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy and free. And may our thoughts, words, and deeds contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace to all of nature, peace to all living beings, to all the animal people, to all humans. Finally, peace to our own self, to our own mind. Om. And now let's have our gratitude session of a couple of minutes. Where we are grateful for anything and everything. Just be grateful. Slowly open your eyes. So now let's move to the physical exercise. So again, very simple. Just inhale, chest forward, exhale back. The other way. Come back to center. Then inhale, exhale round. Inhale, spine up. Exhale, turn to one side. Inhale, extend the spine a bit more. Exhale, turn a bit more. Inhale, center. Exhale, the other side. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, turn a bit more. Inhale, center. One hand on the mat and bend to the side. The other side. Hands on the shoulders. Inhale up. Exhale back. The other way. Then make some magic with your wrist and hands. Open and close rapidly. Then extend the legs and stretch them as well. And your feet. Grab one of the knee and turn to that side. The other knee. Bring your legs in a diamond shape in front of you. A little bit forward, so not next to you. And then just slowly bend forward. Not push. It is not an active posture, it's a passive posture. And slowly come back. So that was the physical exercise. Let's take 5 minutes break. So let's move to the 61 points of relaxation. So the relaxation part. Like in the previous sessions, we will do twice. Once together and once on our own. So yeah, so let's do that. So we'll do it. We'll start with a body scan, and then we will move to the 61 points. So find a relaxing position. You can also do it lying down. Maybe more pleasant if you lie down, but you can do it sitting up. So first, take a couple of deep breaths. Bring your attention to your neck. Relax your neck. Relax the back of the head, top of the head. Relax your forehead, eyes, ears, nose, nostrils, mouth and tongue. Relax your throat, your shoulders, arms and hands. Relax your back, upper back, middle back, lower back. Relax your torso, your navel, abdomen. Relax your hips, legs, feet. Relax your entire body. And now let's start the 61 points. So bring your entire attention to the space between the eyebrows, the pit of the throat, your right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, tip of the right thumb, tip of the index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger. Back to the right wrist, right elbow, right shoulder, pit of the throat, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, tip of the left thumb, tip of the index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and little finger. Back to the left wrist, left elbow, left shoulder, pit of the throat, the middle of the chest, the right chest, middle of the chest, the left chest, the middle of the chest, the navel, lower abdomen, right hip joint, right knee, right ankle, tip of the right big toe, tip of the second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Back to the right ankle, right knee, right hip joint, lower abdomen, left hip joint, left knee, left ankle, tip of the left big toe, tip of the second toe, third toe, fourth toe, and fifth toe. Back to the left ankle, left knee, left hip joint, lower abdomen, navel, the center of the chest, pit of the throat, and the space between the eyebrows. And relax. Now let's do it each on our own. So only the 61 points. Starting now. And slowly open your eyes. So that concludes our um, relaxation part. Now we move to pranayama. So as before, we are going to do three practices. One is controlled breathing, one is Dandasvadanam, and one is Brahmari. So let's start with controlled breathing, where we breathe in a particular way. Here it's 1-1, and we breathe in the same amount of time that we breathe out. With a very important quality of breath, so we try to be as silent as possible. No ujjayi. We try to make it so-called diaphragmatic, which just mean to breathe in from deep below, so not from the chest or like bringing above, but really bringing everything below. That's what it means, basically diaphragmatic, or one could say belly breathing, which means just letting the muscles of the belly expand naturally without contracting them. And yeah, that's what it means. And then without pauses, so very and without any hiccups, so very smoothly. Yeah, so that is the idea. And we also try to breathe in from the nose and out from the nose. So that is non-negotiable. Unless one has one has a blocked nose, of course, but if we don't, then out and in from the nose. Then we'll do 4-4. So that means breathing in for 4 seconds and out for 4 seconds. If that is too much for you, you can do 3-3 or 2-2. And yeah, so let's do that for a couple of minutes. and slowly open your eyes. Now let's move to the second part of the first part. So this time we're going to do the same, but 1, 2, meaning we are breathing in for x seconds and breathing out for 2 times x seconds. So we're going to do 4, 8. So breathing in for 4 seconds and out for 8 seconds. If that is too much for you, you can do a 3, 6 or 2, 4. Same qualities of breath again, exactly the same thing. So let's do that now. And slowly open your eyes. So now what is the idea for this? It is to calm down the nervous system, to regulate the nervous system, so to kick the parasympathetic system, which is the rest and digest, as opposed to the sympathetic nervous system, which is more the fight or flight or stress. So when we breathe like that, it's very calming to the system, especially the 1, 2. So breathing out for like twice more than inhalation is very peaceful, very calming to the system. So it calms us down. So now we move to the Nadi Shodhanam. We're going to do like yesterday, like each one we're going to do 1 round together and then 3 rounds on our own. For each of the 3 types, this is more like a training. I'm not saying that this is what one should do during the one own practice. One can choose just one of those types and do this one for 3 rounds. That would be enough. But here it's more like a training, so we are training ourselves to do those. So we'll do it all 3 of them. But if you feel dizzy or anything, please stop. Do not force yourself, of course. If you have any condition, you should maybe avoid this if that doesn't feel right. Please listen to your own body, as they say. So yeah, so Nadi Shodhanam, again, alternate nostril breathing. We did it basically every single day. But we're going to do it so with the system. We can either do it like that, so bend index and middle finger, then use the thumb and ring finger to block, or we can use the 2 fingers on our third eye between the eyebrows and then do exactly the same. So in the in like in the 2 or 3 times last times we did this one instead of just this, and let's also do that again today. So we do it one round together. So the first type is, imagine we block the right, then we exhale left, inhale right, exhale left, inhale right, exhale left, inhale right, then exhale right, inhale left, exhale right, inhale left, exhale right, inhale left. It's kind of a circular motion. Yeah, so let's do that together. So inhale, exhale, inhale to start. Block right, exhale from left. Switch inhale, switch exhale, switch inhale, switch exhale, switch inhale, exhale from same, switch inhale, switch exhale, switch inhale, switch exhale, and switch inhale. And relax. So we're going to do it for 3 rounds again, each round starting from the other nostril. And between the round, take 5-10 seconds rest. And yeah, and do not try to make it too long. Make it about 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. There are many different variations, but we're going to do this one the easiest. No retention, and yeah, and full concentration. So let's do it on our own now. And slowly open your eyes. So that was the first type. Now the second type is when imagine we close the right, then exhale left, inhale left, switch, exhale left, inhale left, switch, exhale left, inhale left, switch, exhale inhale, switch, exhale inhale, switch, exhale inhale. So it is again 6 inhalation, 6 exhalation in total, but a little bit different. So let's do it one round together and 3 rounds on our own. So inhale, exhale, inhale to start. I'm sorry, a bit tired. So let's do it together again. So inhale, exhale, inhale to start. Close right, exhale from left. Inhale left. Switch, exhale. Inhale. 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 And relax. So now we're going to do it 3 rounds on our own. Again, each round starting on the other nostril, and take 5-10 seconds of rest between rounds. And if anything feels forced, just don't do it. It should be feel very natural. But one nostril will be a bit closer than the other. That is normal. So let's start now. And slowly open your eyes. Let's do now the last type, the third type of Nadi Shodanam. The pattern is, imagine we close the right, then inhale, close the right and exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, switch, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. That's it, that's the pattern. Let's do it together. Inhale, exhale, inhale to start. Close right and exhale from left. Inhale left, exhale left, inhale left, exhale left, inhale left, switch, exhale right, inhale right, exhale right, inhale right, exhale right, inhale right, and relax. Now let's do 3 rounds on our own of the third type. So remember, each round starts on the opposite nostril. Take a couple of seconds rest between each one. And yeah, so let's do this at our own pace. and gently open your eyes. So that concludes our Nadi Shodanam practice for today. Let's move on to the Brahmari, bee humming. So that there is very simple. Just inhale, close your mouth, and make the sound. You can choose the tone and the pace and how long. This is very, very calming to the nervous system. So it's very beneficial, like if you have trouble falling asleep, this can be a good remedy. So let's do that for a couple of minutes. Don't follow me, do it at your own pace. And slowly relax. So now we move to the self-dialogue part, where we try to talk with ourselves in a very positive, compassionate, kind, soft manner. Many ways to do that. The idea is to let the steam out before meditation. It's like a preparation for meditation. In meditation, we want to just watch the breath, but in the dialogue, we actually do want to talk, to follow the thoughts. So meditation, we don't follow the thoughts as much as possible, and in the dialogue, we do. So there are many ways of doing it. So some of the ways are for prayer. Prayer is a kind of self-dialogue. Can be either pre-made or self-made. Pre-made are like the scriptures, sayings, scriptures, writings. Those are the pre-made. They are fine. And the self-made are those that we come from the heart, that we ourselves create, invent. And those are also beautiful. Those are maybe even better, because then every time it can be different. Every time it can be a prayer for what, it can be creative prayer. Prayer can be also requesting things from the divine, whatever we really wish, as long as it is positive, of course. But it can also be more wishing well. Maybe that's a little bit more advanced. It's more wishing well to other people. So that prayer to help all beings, be kind, and compassionate to all beings, prayer to our own, that we will become better instrument of the divine, instrument of nature, that we would become more enlightened, more peaceful, more blissful, that everyone else will become as well. Prayer to end all wars, prayer to end all violence towards all beings, towards the animal people and the humans and the insects and nature in general. A prayer that people who are violent would become peaceful, um, and would open up their hearts and remove the veils of ignorance and violence. So to increase kindness and compassion into all hearts, doesn't matter which hearts, to increase joy, happiness, peace. Some say that peace is God, which is a nice way of seeing things. So when we are peaceful, we are kind of with God. Then we have gratitude, self-dialogue, which is what we do every day, every morning. It's a beautiful practice. I would recommend to do it every day after waking up. Maybe start with a prayer and then a gratitude session. It's a wonderful way of starting the day. Gratefulness is really important. Is one of the what's considered the mother of all virtues, but for me it's more like kindness and gratitude are the mothers of all the virtues. Maybe we have two mothers. Virtues have two mothers, or maybe their parents. So so both like gratitude and kindness are all other virtues basically flow from them. Doesn't matter which one. Probably like the commandment of not stealing. Well, if we are kind, we do not steal. We don't want to hurt anyone. So that's the idea. We could replace all commandments of all religions, of all scriptures, with just two: kindness and gratitude. So that's that. Then we have affirmations that we can utter. Maybe we know some good affirmations or affirmation that we create. That's okay. Like it's something positive, that a positive saying. Then we have the metta meditation or loving kindness meditation from the Buddhist tradition, which is a wonderful meditation where we I will add, like before, like this meditation should include wishing well to all beings, not only to humans but also to all the animal people, so that all beings are happy and joyful. You can watch some YouTube like sessions about metta meditation. There are probably hundreds. And then the idea is to wish well to all the beings that we are affinities with, good affinities with, that we enjoy being around with, maybe our family, friends, family members, friends, co-workers, pets. We wish them well. And then there's a specific like formula that wishing them well, peace, to live long, etc. And then there's same thing, but we pray for those that are neutral to us, that we do not know really. Maybe co-workers that we do not work with and we do not know well or not at all. And we wish them well. And everybody at the bus station, a tram, train, all the beings that we do not know, we wish them well. Like a universal wish. And then the last part, maybe the most difficult, is the part where we wish well to all those that are difficult to us. I think many of us have some relations which are difficult for one reason or another. Maybe it's our fault, maybe it's their fault, doesn't matter whose fault it is. But it's difficult when we are with them, we don't feel at ease. Maybe we have to meet them for one reason or another, but we do not really enjoy it. And yeah, so the idea here is to wish them well as well. And that's maybe a bit difficult because maybe well, we have issues with them, so we do not really wish well to them. But in this practice, we kind of at first maybe force ourselves to wish well to them, maybe if we do not mean it. But then after some time, if we do it regularly, then this this will become actually a beautiful liberation to really wish them peace and happiness. Doesn't mean that we excuse what they do, but we wish them well because if they are happy, then that means they will not hurt anyone. Um, I mean, okay, less chances of hurt. I mean, it's also for our own being that we want to expand our hearts to include all beings. And sometimes, like our enemies, they could be our best friends, maybe in other lives. Just that circumstances made what happened, whatever happens, and made it made some events that created a lot of tension and things, and then we become like enemies. But this is fleeting. It's not something that is deep in our hearts. It's circumstances, whatever that may be, and we want to forgive and wish them well, because if they are happy, then they will not bother us. You see. So we need to also help them be happy, so that there will be no animosity between us. And then they will feel it too, and they will also be ashamed if they did anything wrong. Then they will ask for forgiveness and also try to help us be happy. And that's how we make this world a happy place and a peaceful place, and we end wars. Doesn't mean we do not defend ourselves if we need to. Of course, that doesn't mean that at all. Sometimes we have no choice but to defend ourselves. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we wish harm to another people. We just defend ourselves because we have no choice. Yeah, that's a topic unto itself. So yeah, so then that is one practice that we can do in self-dialogue. Then another one is contemplation, where we contemplate on higher truths, like who am I? Who am I really? Who are you? Are you me? Am I you? Are we? Are we you? We can turn it out in many different ways. But in a sense, who are we exactly? Who am I? That's a wonderful question. It's a self-inquiry question that is central to spirituality. That is what so-called spirituality tries to answer and or to provide kind of the answer. It's a journey to get that answer. Takes a long time for us to, even when we know it, to accept it. That we are a divine being. We are using this body. We are not this body. We are not the mind. Or something behind that. We use those as instruments to work in this world, in this universe. And we have different bodies for different realms, different dimensions. And in each dimension, we use a different body, depending on the frequency of that realm. Because that's how, otherwise we cannot work here. Ghosts, if we are ghosts, we cannot do anything here. We are just, we need a physical, material body to work in this physical, material world. And it's a wonderful body. It's a body that we need to take good care of. It's very, very precious, extremely precious, extremely rare to get this human body. So we need to treasure it like it's a gem. But it's a temporary gem. But it's a gem that we can work with while being in this world to do so much good things in this world. That's why we are here. So to learn and to learn to have fun also. That's also why we are here. Not only to learn, also to have fun. Adventure. So that is the idea. Who am I? Just pondering upon it. Doesn't mean we have the solution, we just ponder on it. And we try to think, who am I not? Am I this body? Am I my mind? Am I my gender? Am I my profession? What about my material stuff? Do they really belong to me? Or do they belong to the body and the mind? Could we come here without nothing and we live with nothing, basically? So material possession is just a possession of the mind and body, but a lot of it we do not need. So like contemplating on it, on possessions. What does it mean to possess things? And that's a wonderful question to ponder about. It's not the only question. There are other questions, like higher questions, that one can also ponder about the nature of who we call God or the Lord. What is his or her nature? I mean, it's not a he. It's not a she. It's neither he or she. It's kind of like an energy, a supreme energy, consciousness, an ocean of consciousness, ocean of true love and compassion and kindness. And we are just a drop of it. But we are not just a drop, we are a drop of it. Like, a drop has the same, qualitatively the same as the ocean. A drop is the ocean. But quantitatively it's different. Quantitatively, a drop is not the ocean. So, but what happens if the drop merges with the ocean? Then that drop becomes the ocean. Something like that. So that is contemplation on higher truths. Then we have self-counseling, where we try to counsel ourselves, like what do I want in life, what do I really, really want, who do I want to become, what do I want to become, what do I want to do, maybe some aspirations, goals in life that we want to achieve, like positive ones, of course, always. And it's beautiful to have aspirations. It's more like it's a direction. It's like, it's like the North Star helping us to direct our action towards that goal. Maybe that we reach it or not, we don't know, but at least we have some directions. And if we don't yet have direction, we just make up one. Something positive, whatever that may be. So we all have some aspirations in life, something that we want to do. Even like becoming rich, for example, that's an aspiration. But why do we want to become rich? Then that would be a self-dialogue aspect of it, which is quite interesting. Is it for just to relax, to maybe buy an island and stop working, just enjoy life? Or is it more from like empathic way to want to help the world, help people, help the animals? Like when we have money, then we can help people in many ways. I'm not saying we necessarily need money to help, not at all. But it's a tool in our hands. So that's why earning money is not wrong. And wanting to earn more money is also not wrong. Depends what we do with this money. If you want to buy like maybe negative things with it, like drugs or whatever, or alcohol or cigarettes, then no, then money is not good in that sense. In that case, it all depends on. It's a tool in our hands, and it's up to us to use it for good or for less good. And then we have friendship with mind, where we talk friendly with the mind in any way that we wish, that we think is best for us, and mainly for us, basically, us and the mind. And that's it. So let's do that. I know I repeat it in each session, but again, it's because each session is kind of self-contained. I know, like many people are not watching like everything every day. So if one person watches in just one session, then at least one has more ideas about what the practice is about. Otherwise, it would be a bit theoretical and it could create issues if one practices in a wrong way. That's why I enjoy very much like on presence retreats, where I can really know the people who come, the participants much better, and it's much more interactive. So it's a different kind of sessions, but both are interesting. This on the internet is interesting because it's more widespread, so more people can watch it. But at the same time, we don't have this direct connection, interaction. Of course, we could have like a chat and Zoom, but I'm not sure that would be. I mean, Zoom would be fine because I wouldn't mind seeing the participants, and then there can be like direct talk. but chat would be a bit more harder in this format for this meditation contemplation part. Although it might be possible, probably is. So let's do that, and I stop talking. So I'll ring the bell, and we'll do it for 9 minutes. Just try to find a comfortable position, and just talk with your own mind about anything that we talked about. Choose one topic or one that you wish, something else entirely. So that concludes our self-dialogue part. Let's now move to the meditation. So in meditation, we try to, on the contrary, from self-dialogue, we try to not follow the thoughts, so let the thoughts come and go like clouds, as much as possible. I know it's not easy. And that's the idea, so that with mindfulness, we bring the attention always back to whatever we concentrate upon. So we will choose here the breath, so breath awareness. The breath should be completely natural, so no, it's not a controlled breath. It's like we breathe in normal life, we don't notice it even, but here we do notice it. And we focus especially on the sensation of the air in the nostrils, or of the cold and hot air that comes out and in and out of the nose, or the sensation of the breath on the upper lips, or even the belly coming in and out. We find something that is related to the breath, and we focus on that entirely. When thoughts come, we just slowly, either we don't react to them at all, or if our mind went that way, then we need to slowly bring it back to alignment. We can do it with, for example, thinking about a certain word, like thinking the word thinking, which is like acknowledging the thoughts and then bringing us back to the focus. And yeah, we can also count the breath from like 1 to 5 and back to 1 and so on. And each inhalation exhalation we count 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. Or we can think in when we inhale and out when we exhale. And yeah, and we try to be as stable and non-moving as possible. So let's do that for 9 minutes. So this concludes our session for today. So to recap today, the talk was a bit different. It was more about sensitive persons, humans, persons, also highly sensitive persons, which are wonderful beings, just that they are more sensitive. Their senses is more, they do not like noise, not a lot crowd, not too comfortable with crowds, and more with, they're more like in line with nature. Um, and yeah, so I believe, well, it's not only me. I mean, so those sometimes this world like tries to toughen people up in different ways. Think that people are too sensitive, um, and tries to kind of force them into some mold. But actually, yeah, like sensitive persons are usually they are like very compassionate. They are very kind persons that they really care about other beings. They care about the suffering of other people. They are very empathic. So there's nothing that needs to be toughened up. It's just on the contrary, those that are tough should melt in their kindness. It's the opposite. It's the complete opposite. But sometimes this world is upside down. So yeah, so you can. I would suggest again that you the channel of a wonderful lady called Vera. The channel is called Simple Happy Zen. She's a highly sensitive person, and she's wonderful. She's minimalist, vegan, and also practice meditation, and yeah, so her story is very interesting. Of a burnout story, so she gives her story on her channel, and she presents it and how she like her corporate job did not satisfy her. It was too stressful, and it was too so she got a burnout for a long time, and then she found a much happier, more calmer life that she does, that she follows now, much more aligned with her way of being, with her sensitivity, and yeah, she presents some tips and tricks to those that are sensitive, and she also is strong on minimalism, which I am also very strong about, which I believe very strongly about, which is wonderful way of living in this world in a minimalist way. I'm not talking about extreme minimalism. It's not like we should not have anything, but just the minimum of what we need and what we wish for, and not more. That's really wonderful for the world, for helping the world, because the world doesn't have infinite resources, so we need to be very careful about that. And yeah, to live in a minimalist house is a blessing. Doesn't mean that when we live with family members, they are not necessarily minimalist, but at least for our own stuff, our own being, we can try to follow that. So yeah, sensitive persons are wonderful. Many many of the advocates, like environmental advocates, have a lot of sensitivity, a lot of empathy. Also, the artists, many artists are very sensitive in a good way. I'm not saying sensitive in a bad way, of course. It's good sensitivity. Those that really try to listen and not to close our hearts to the pain of other beings, and especially I mean, humans, of course, there are a lot of humans who suffer, and some do extraordinary work to help them. But the animal people, we are often neglected, and and yeah, since we can do something about it, there's not cannot help uh, everyone. Um, we can feel empathic also for learning about different pains and stuff, but we cannot help anyone necessarily. But something we can do help, and the animal people is some of the easiest to help just by going vegan. I'd say directly. That's the best way to help the animals and to help the planet and also the humans. So in one action, one helps all beings on this planet. What more can one wish for? So yeah, the vegan lifestyle is all about kindness and being sensitive enough to the suffering of all beings, and the animal people are the worst in this world. I mean, the worst treated, worstly treated in this world. Because even sensitive persons don't realize that and contribute to the suffering of those wonderful innocent beings, mainly because of ignorance, because of not realizing it, because society is not a vegan society, not yet, and and we need to do something about it. So when we learn about the suffering of all the animals, people, we need to. It's our duty to not close our eyes and ears, because 3 times a day or more we contribute to it, directly or indirectly. I mean, it's mostly indirectly, because directly most of us will not do it. But indirectly is no better. Indirectly, maybe even worse, because we pay someone else to do the dirty job for us, and then we consume and we enjoy that piece of flesh, but it's actually a flesh of an innocent animal, pure and simple, that did not wish to die. And same for milk and dairy products, cheese and butter, ghee, same thing, even worse maybe, if we really know what's happening behind the scene. So that's why sensitive persons are very important, because the sensitive person do not close their eyes and ears and hearts. They are always open, and and they are the ones that really maybe more easily go vegan or plant-based, and they understand more the suffering, and they are less into themselves but more um, into all the beings. So they wish well to all the beings. That's what sensitivity also means. Be sensitive also to ourselves, but also to other beings. So, and we can increase sensitivity. Sensitivity is not something that is necessarily in our DNA. Maybe there's some of it, but it's something that we can develop over time, especially when one goes vegan, especially for the animals, even if not for the animals, even for health or environment or social justice. Slowly but surely, we will start to feel more and more empathic, more and more sensitive. We will become highly sensitive person ourselves, in a good sense, and that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. We'll start to crave being in nature and being calm and peaceful. It's not that our personality will suddenly change. It's just it's kind of an addition, an augmentation. I don't know if we can say improvement, but maybe um, that our personality does not only involve us anymore, but also others. it's not only me, but it's we. It's not me time only, it's we time. With me times in between. So yeah, so that was the presentation of today. It was a quite long presentation. Something that speaks to me personally. I am um, I am quite a reserved person. I am quite sensitive to many things. Since I'm young, and yeah, so this is quite important to me, and also for telling people that it's okay to be sensitive, and it's actually a positive trait, not a negative one, no matter what the words might say. So, wishing you a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, and wishing you all the best, always the best of wishes. And yeah, it's almost the end of the series of presentations. We still have, I will present still 3 times, so 3 presentation, and then on the last day there will be one more day where it will be like the conclusion without a presentation. We'll just talk, and in general, and then yes, and then it will be the end. And then I hope these presentations and the practice gave some tips on how one can create a practice, like meditation practice, a spiritual practice. That is a very healthy way of doing, I would say. It's similar to the Himalayan tradition way. And yeah, it's very systematic and methodological. So it can help create a routine in one's life, especially in the morning. It's very good. You don't need to wake up at 3 or 2:30, of course. You can start at 5 or 6 or even 7. Or if that's not okay for you, in the evening or anytime that you wish, maybe I would suggest 2 times 20 minutes a day as practice. That would be already wonderful. Like 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes before sleep. That would be a wonderful practice already. So yeah, thank you. Let's finish with the mantra. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy and free. And may our thoughts, words, and deeds contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace to all of nature, peace to all living beings, to all the animal people, and to all the humans. And finally, peace to our own self, to our own mind. Thank you. Yeah, hope to see you soon, and bye bye.